In this video, my bargain £190 Daihatsu Charade has a smoking problem. See if I can get her to actually do it here. Yeah, that's not ideal. Right, let's go for a drive. And ponder why this car is so bad. I think it's piston rings. I wondered about valve stem seals, but looking at that revving up smoke, yeah, I'm not convinced about valve stem seals. That is an issue. Both are issues. Valve stem seals and gummed up piston rings. So I'm going to head to the unit and we can try and work out what we might do about that. Right, we've got it nice and warm now. Has the problem gone away? No. As it's doing it repeatedly and getting worse, I think this is the classic gummed up rings. Let's talk a bit about why that is. The engine we have here is the old EJVE engine. It's the export engine. This is a K-sized car, the Charade, or Mira as it is sold in Japan, which is all the more astonishing when you consider how spacious it is inside. But the engine is the export. This is an L251 Mira, or Charade in this case, and yeah, it's because it's got the larger 989cc engine, the same engine that was in my Daihatsu Charade. It's a twin cam, 4 valves per cylinder, and quite punchy, it must be said. But the big difference here is I believe this engine has variable valve timing. This engine isn't directly related to the one used in the Toyota Aygo, Citroen C1, etc. But I'm sure it's the same sort of people involved, and this motor was probably an inspiration for it. So yeah, the piston rings do get gummed up on these. My Syrian had exactly the same issue. I found with that just doing a couple of quick oil changes, so like changing the oil every 2,000-3,000 miles did improve matters. So I might do that. There are also various magic potions I could try. I know Steve, hello Steve in Tasmania, who has this engine in his handy van. He's very dismissive of the magic potions, but there's no better time to try them. Because the alternative, sadly, is to rip the engine apart and replace the piston rings, which can be done with the engine in situ. I think you can kind of get the entire front end off the car to aid access. But we're talking big job on a £190 car, and all these potions have all these magical claims. Do any of them actually work? I think that's worth finding out. But while we're here, I'll give you a bit more of a look around the car. I'll just leave you there while I do that. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so the grade, it wants 530 oil is what it says, so maybe I will go 530. And there we go, EJVE. I think the DE is the K size version, so that's the 660cc kei-car reg engine. There we go, let's make sure that's shut. I've got wiper blades on order because that's an aero blade and looks horrible, and this one is starting to tear at the edge. I think that's oversized as well, or maybe it's too low. It might be mounted too low. I think both are, to be honest. That suggests it may have had a windscreen at some point, because people who fit windscreens can often not fit wipers properly. So that should get rid of the triangle of doom if I adjust the position of those. Now if we look at the doors, look how slender the doors are. It's beeping because I've left the key in the ignition, I imagine, which helps give this feeling of space. The seat is somewhat destroyed under there. Let's take the key out, if that's going to shut it up. There we go. So that's why there's a towel in place. We've got dog hair everywhere as well, but it likes to give you messages. So it's like, hello, happy. It's a happy car. And then when you get out, it says goodbye to you as well. I've got a stereo with unfathomably small buttons. I'm not sure that was the standard fit radio. Like I say, I've got the clock that's shared very much with a Syrian I used to own. A little cup holder down here. But yeah, it's remarkable to think. This car meets kei-car dimensions. I forget what they are. Is it 1.3 meters wide? but it's the same width as the Perodua Nipper. The Nipper uses an earlier version of this engine, 847cc, but this car just feels so much wider, so much more spacious. They've worked some sheer magic. You know, there's plenty of room in the footwell. This is something Miss Hubnut cares about a lot. She could get a big bag, quite comfortably in here with her legs. Wouldn't be a problem. We've got twin airbags as well. It's all of the good times. So yeah, there's other things to check on this car. I'm tempted to have a nose around today. Maybe today's not the day for rolling around on the floor, but rear chassis legs are a major weakness on these in terms of rot. We might have a look at those. There's nothing on the MOT history to cause concern. We have got some barn life on the parcel shelf there. That's because the parcel shelf was just left in a barn while he used the car. Down here we've got the fuel flap release if you push down and pull up for the boot. So we might as well show you the boot while we're here and thereabouts. So there we go. It's not massive, but we've got a split folding rear seat. Also got a bit of trim. I forget where that's from. Somewhere that's from. That looks like a mud flap. Is there a mud flap missing? Oh yes, we're missing the mud flap on this corner, and that's why there's mud all over the bumper. Not sure how much I care about that. So it's a reasonable boot. It's not massive. Quite like the rear wiper. Moving inside, if I move my junk for a moment, just been on the post run, you see, all the merchandise. Got the L plates ready for Miss Hubnut. So if I jump in behind me, yeah, look how much knee room there is. It's extraordinary. We've got one pocket for your maps. We've got height adjustable seat belts in the front as well. Head restraints for 2 of the rear passengers. You can have 3 in here, I believe. Or is it a 4-seater? No, it might just be a 4-seater, actually. I can't see a centre lap belt. I'm just going to have a feel around down there. No, there we go. Might officially be a 4-seater. These go up. Oh yeah, they do. So I can have the headrest set somewhere. But yeah, it's not too bad in here at all. I've got keep fit windows. And they go most of the way down. That's not a bad performance. We've got lots of central locking. Fair bit of equipment in here. Yeah, I think this car will be alright. I just need to find out what's going on with the oil and check it isn't horribly rotten. But it should be a great car for Miss Hubnut to learn to drive in. Speaking of which, I must point out, she's not a complete newbie to driving. She has had a provisional for a number of years, but hasn't been able to successfully pass a test. So it's about trying to build her confidence behind the wheel, get her more comfortable driving is the main aim. And I think I can do that. I do have some driving tuition experience, albeit in minibuses. So yeah, that's the little Charade. Well, here we are underneath the Charade. You can see a little bit of surface rust starting to creep in places. The fuel filler neck is looking typically a little crusty. They always do. Toyotas and Daihatsu's terrible fuel necks rotting out. But look, I mean, you can see the body colour. It shows you how pathetic the factory rust protection is on these. So there's no point spraying wax around now while it's all wet. We'll let her try and dry out a bit and we'll get busy with the built Hamber products. But it's these chassis legs where sort of running up to the spring is a key weakness on these, I think. And these seem okay. Those look like actual metal. So a bit of time spent here will be well worth it, I think. But I need a couple of easy wins this week, so I'm going to put some oil in. This is semi-synthetic 530. I would rather use fully synth, to be honest, but that isn't going to be in the engine long, so I'm going to just drop the oil, put fresh in, and I think I'm also going to have a go at buffing these headlamps up, because look at the state of these. These are very bad. So I know what worked on the Matiz, so we'll see if the same thing works on this. And I'm not going to film it because I've already done that on the Matiz, but I will share the results with you afterwards. Something for me to do while the engine's draining oil. Before, after. Such a simple thing makes such a difference. This one is really bad. It looks like there's condensation or something on the inside there, but nonetheless I'll give it a buff while the oil's draining. Well, it's obviously an awful lot more reflective than I could, but yeah, it is misting up on the inside. It doesn't seem to have any of the gaiters that it should have on the back of the lamp cluster to stop moisture getting in. So that's going to be an issue. You can see the slam panels going rusty. Again, this is something that happened on the nipper as well. So wire brush and wax might be in order there, but not while I'm working on the engine, I don't think, because I'll just get wax all over myself. There we go, she's running on the new oil. Still a little on the smoky side, I would say. Good special effects though. Let's just remove this and see if anything dramatic happens. No, that's good. Because you've got a crankcase breather here, they can be problematic. But it's not chuffing out of there, so that's encouraging. But nonetheless, oh, there we go. Oh no. Definitely still a little on the smoky side. I think I'm going to open this door again, you know. Well, there we go. I've improved the wiper situation. Still got the blades on the way, don't forget, because these are horrible. But lifted the wiper position up, and we've now got no triangle of doom. We've got a decent amount of overlap. You can see where that knackered blade is not cleaning the screen properly. So we've got better headlamps. We've got better wipers, or we will soon have better wipers. Must remember to put these clips back on, just at the bottom here. There we go. And another one. Grand. And yeah, she's getting a bit better. I've even been doing a bit of valeting using this cheap 12 volt car vacuum that someone sent me. It's definitely pulled some muck out. I don't think it's done as good a job as a proper vacuum, but considering that's only 12 volts, it's impressive nonetheless. A bit more to do. Might have a go at the boot, or I might decide I really can't be bothered with the boot because I'm not going to sit there. But yeah, hopefully that will help get rid of the stench of dog, which is quite pronounced in the little Daihatsu. Before we get into the important business of making the engine work, wiper blades. I bought these from wiperblades.co.uk. I've got 21 inch for the driver's side, 11 inch for the front, and oddly it's a 12 inch with a weird sort of curvy style for the for the rear. I might not change the rear because I don't think it's actually that desperate, so I'll keep that in stock. But the front blades definitely need changing because we've got a horrible aero blade. I hate aero blades. I think they're okay on cars that were designed for them, but they just look wrong on cars that weren't designed for them. I far prefer this style, even though blades do have certain advantages. So I'm going to get those swapped over. There we go. We've even got a spoiler because sports car. The 11 is looking a bit smaller than what was there before. So that's not going to clear quite so well, but it should definitely ensure no triangle of doom. You can see where the old blade came to, although the old blade was going off the windscreen slightly. So yeah, that seems a little overly small, if I'm honest, but I suppose we better have these things in action, otherwise it's not very hub nut at all, is it? Hello, happy, says the little Daihatsu. I'm glad you're happy, little Daihatsu, despite the fact your engine is apparently rubbish. Right. Yeah, that does seem peculiarly small, does it not? But nonetheless, it wipes, it doesn't judder. Look at that for a corner of disappointment. I'm not sure I like that, but we shall see what we can do. I'll just make sure she's in neutral. I'll start her up and see what we get. Let's be kind and roll her out so she's not blowing fumes all over a certain GSA. It's a tiny car, so I can sneak out with the doors closed. Well, I can with the mirrors folded anyway. There we go. see what we've got going on today. A considerable smoke show, I would say. Off. Yeah, for the avoidance of any doubt, that is definitely oil. Yeah, that's potent. It's going to be fun getting out of here without smoking the place out. But that's what I must do. Right, we're going to go for a drive. Right, so we've got the engine warmed through now, and oh yeah, it's just a bit of blue smoke going on if you really rev it. But we'll continue our experiments. I love the noise this engine makes, especially when you lift off for the down changes. It sounds incredible. But I think we conclude that changing the oil is probably not going to make this problem go away. So we're awaiting various potions. I'm going to put very few miles on this fresh oil, and then we'll drop it and we'll see if we can magic our way out of this. There are some harsher treatments, so if the potions don't work, we'll move on to that. But my aim really is I don't really want to get digging into the engine on this car. That wasn't really the point. But I think it does explain, especially the clouds it produces when cold, why this car was for sale cheaply. People get the fear when you see smoke like that and think the engine is absolutely done. It isn't, but nor is it particularly simple to just quickly whip the piston rings out. It's a bit more involved than that, so we'll see. Here's one downside of the tall gearing, by the way. We're struggling up a hill in 5th gear, 55 miles an hour, 2,500 revs. It hasn't really got the torque to pull the gearing. There we are, a few more items. I apologise for this camera angle, which gives you a lovely view of the interior mirror. Sorry about that, and you just noticed. But yep, back to the unit. It's hard not to thrash an engine when it sounds that good. But we'll see whether we can improve the oil situation, because Miss Hudnut needs to learn to drive in this, but I don't think it's fair to expect her to learn to drive in a car that's belching oil out all over the place. Oh, I found out on my private test track earlier, it will do 70 miles an hour in third. That's 50 in second. So the gearing really is tall in this car. Thought I'd mention beanie hats, because I know some people love me going on about merchandise. Beanie hats currently sold out at the time of recording, are hoping to get them in. May even be in by the time you see this video. Not too sure yet, they are on order. It'll take a bit longer to do because of all the embroidery. Done by Blackwater Studios down in Cornwall, who also do our t-shirt printing. So yeah, it's nice to support small companies like Blackwater Studios. They use plastic-free screen printing to make the t-shirt, so that's always nice. I'll shut up about merch now before more people get upset. No, it must be said, I can still smell a bit of burning oil. This car is not cured by just changing the oil, so we'll stick with it. We'll go through our period of trying to improve the little Daihatsu so it's fit and ready for Miss Hudnut to learn to drive in. I could have just taught her to drive in the Matiz, I suppose, but I think this is a bit more forgiving a car, and importantly has a fresh clutch. So yeah, I'm looking forward to sharing more adventures of the tiny Daihatsu. See you in a future video. Farewell. Oh, Houston, we might have another issue. Yep, that's hot. The handbrake is off. Ugh. That car does not want to roll. I've just tried going back and forth a little bit, but yeah, that wheel doesn't want to rotate at the moment. That's not entirely helpful. I still need to get back to the unit. Oh, there we go. Kicking it may actually have worked. We are slightly rolling there. Let's do the push test and see how that compares. That's still, yeah, that's still a bit sticky. We'll take it easy on the way back. Looks like I've got something else to look at on my bargain £195 car.